Hello, and welcome to the Book Marketing Simplified podcast. I'm Jen Hanson-dePaula.
And I'm Marcus-dePaula. And today we're going to talk about numbers, specifically as they relate to analytics.
Yes.
What numbers should authors be looking at? And how should we use those numbers to actually help make our marketing more effective?
Yes, and today we're specifically talking about social media analytics.
Yes.
Because there's a whole nother topic of other analytics to think about, but this is specifically within social media. If you go in on the back end of Instagram or Facebook, there are a lot of numbers and a lot of charts that make no sense, even to me. Some of them are just like, what are they trying to show here? So it gets very overwhelming, and then we just kind of shut down. The truth of the matter is that there really are only a few metrics that you should be paying attention to and to at least be aware of, and so you can actually see where you're growing and where you might need some work.
So the easiest number for people to fixate on is the number of followers.
Yes.
But there are actually much more important figures that you should be looking at as an author when it comes to your marketing plan.
Yes.
So what's the first one?
The first one that people automatically are drawn to are the number of impressions. Impressions are basically your posts getting in front of people.
On a screen.
On a screen. You want to make sure that you're getting in front of people, but that is going to be the biggest number that you're going to see. So we're automatically drawn to that. But it does not necessarily mean as much. When we see the number of impressions, we're seeing, okay, we are getting in front of people. We are being seen. But the most important metric is your engagement. The engagement metric means that people are actually liking, commenting, sharing, or saving those posts. So the engagement means that people are active on your Instagram page or on your Facebook page. It means that they are participating in the conversation.
And not just scrolling on by.
Exactly. So the impressions and the engagement are good to at least track. What I like to do is just to have a simple Excel sheet where you go by month, maybe setting a reminder in your calendar to say, go check your Facebook analytics or go check your Instagram analytics and specifically look at the growth of number of followers, look at the growth in your impressions, and then also looking at the growth in your engagement. You want to see a steady climb. And if you see your engagement start to slip down, you want to fix that. You want to start having more calls to action, creating more engaging conversations.
Maybe adjust the discussion
Exactly.
a little bit.
It's important because it's going to help you intentionally make adjustments where you need help and where you need to pay more attention. Maybe you've been on autopilot and you've just been kind of posting the same things over and over again, and you start to see your number slip in all categories. And it's like, okay, I need to make some changes here. So when you see those numbers start to go down, it's not a bad thing. You just need to make a couple adjustments.
So it seems to me like with the engagement, that would be the easiest place to see where you can adjust as far as the content and, the visual aspect of it, the creative aspect of it, the words you're using, calls to action, that sort of thing. With the impressions, when you see those numbers dip, is that more about the algorithm where you need to figure out your keywords that you're going for and your hashtags?
Yes, exactly. And it's something where when you see your impressions start to go down, your engagement will go down as well.
Sure.
Because the more engagement you have, the higher your impressions will be. Because within the algorithm, they want to see, are people actually taking part in this conversation, in this post? And if it's not, then they're not going to make your post as visible to as many people. They go hand in hand. So when you see your engagement start to go up, you're going to see your impressions go up as well.
And we did have a whole conversation on algorithms, so we'll include a link to that episode and the blog post about it in the show notes, so you can dive deeper into how the algorithm works. So the reason why we want to track our analytics is not for an ego boost to see how many people are responding to our things. It's more about to see if what we're saying is actually landing with our audience and getting a response that we want. And the numbers that we want to look at are the engagement numbers is the main one, but also the impressions.
Yes, exactly. And I know that there are authors who get down on themselves for when their engagement numbers go down. It's not a bad thing. That is telling you some very important information to think, okay, I need to be more focused on how I create these conversations. It's helping you to be intentional so that you can make wise changes to see even better results.
And it's an ongoing process of adjusting and fine-tuning and figuring out what people are interested in that moment.
Yes, and it goes from week to week. I mean, there are some weeks where our numbers are through the roof and then they tank. Just being perfectly honest with you. That happens to all of us. It's not a bad thing.
It's all part of the process.
Exactly.
And I can hear people just sighing, going, I just want my numbers to go up in a straight line. And that would be great. And that's the goal, but don't get deflated if it doesn't happen.
When I see a huge spike in the number of followers, you're going to see an equally sharp dip as well. You're going to go up and down. It ebbs and flows. It's okay if your numbers go down a little bit. It's okay if you see a dip in your engagement. Being aware of it is much more powerful than ignoring it.
And we're not chasing numbers.
No.
We're trying to connect with people. And seeing people as a number, that's not a good thing. So there are obviously tools available for tracking all of your analytics in one place or giving you added insights and stuff like that. Are there free tools? Are there paid tools that are worth it? What do you recommend?
So there are paid tools that are rather expensive. Iconosquare is close to $60 a month. And honestly, you do get a lot of information, but it's not vital information. If you were a corporation or if you were
e-commerce,
yes, that is definitely worth the investment. But what I go back to each and every time are the actual analytics on Instagram, the actual analytics on Facebook and on Twitter and on Pinterest, because those are their native.
There's more data there.
There's much more data. And so now that you know, okay, I just need to really pay attention to these 3 metrics, you can go in, find it, put it on an Excel sheet, and you are good.
Is there any benefit to having one dashboard that shows you everything in one place?
I think it's just overwhelming and it's confusing. If you do want something like that, if
your numbers junky,
then, go for it. But for the everyday author who wants to know how they can grow and how they can improve, focusing on those 3 metrics is enough.
And to me, each of the social platforms has their own little unique quirks that you have to consider as you're looking at the data. So there might be some value to seeing the overlap between each of the platforms as far as the overall content strategy.
Yes.
But as far as the mechanics of, is this type of post working or not, an Instagram metric versus a Twitter metric might not have any relation. So
exactly. So I like going directly to the source and getting the numbers that we need there.
Right. All right. So we don't want to ignore metrics, but we also don't want to focus on the wrong ones. And we want to make sure that we're using them to get to our overall marketing goal that is being served by the plan that we have put in place. What is the make it happen moment for this week's discussion?
It is to become aware of what your metrics are. So just even getting a notebook or an Excel file and just going in and writing down followers, impressions, and engagement and tracking it. Those are the only 3 metrics that you really need to pay attention to. So my make it happen moment for this week is to become aware of what those metrics are for you.
And then getting in a routine of doing it at regular intervals.
Once a month. Like at the end of the month, hop on there. It does not take much time, obviously, and just record them, and you can see your growth.
Just wanted to say that we also really appreciate you listening. And if you're finding our podcast helpful, you could really help us spread the word by sharing an episode on social media that has helped you and why it's helped you, how it's helped you, but also leaving a comment for us in your favorite podcast app and commenting on the website. We want to hear if what we're talking about is working for you or if there's something else that you would like for us to talk about.
Absolutely. If you have questions, if you have topics that you want us to discuss, let us know. We want to just help in any way that we can.
So get in touch, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.